This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Eldorado Gaming. Eldorado Gaming is your site for gifts and gaming accessories like dice, playmats, and other items to bling out your games. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Find us on YouTube at Eldorado Gaming TX or our home site at eldoradogaming.com. Here at My Mythical Meta, we talk about gaming with friends and strangers, resolving conflicts, and keeping game nights fun, interesting, and recurring. Our game of choice is Magic the Gathering, but our hope is that what we share is relevant for board gamers, RPG groups, video gamers, and maybe even your poker night. I'm Travis, and with my brother Benjamin and my friends Derek and Randy, we've been playing Magic together since 2014. The secret to a healthy meta is not in the game you play, it's being good friends. Subscribe to My Mythical Meta, presented by Eldorado Gaming, wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to My Mythical Meta. My name is Travis, and we have got a very special edition episode tonight. Our topic tonight is gaming with kids, and I have some special guests. First, my co-host, Benjamin, my brother.
Hello.
And then our two very special guests tonight, Ben's wife, Sarah.
Hi.
And their wonderful daughter, Margaret.
Hi.
Everyone is here. We've got a special family episode, and Derek and Randy have the night off. We are going to talk about gaming with kids tonight. Hey, Margaret, do you have a favorite game or a favorite type of game?
Yes. I like Tripoli.
Tripoli. Can you tell us just a little bit about Tripoli?
You play poker with it, and
It's 3 games in one, right?
yes.
Which 3 games are they?
Hearts,
Hearts, yeah.
Okay, hearts.
Michigan Rummy, and poker.
Cool. I remember that Momo had a copy of Tripoli a long, long time ago, but I don't remember how to play it at all.
Yeah. Does she still have it?
She might.
Maybe we should tell her to bring it to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that way y'all can teach me again.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
You get to bet?
Ooh, betting. And taking other people's money?
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. So something interesting about gaming with kids is that kids actually love rules and restrictions. And that's not sarcasm. Kids will invent games by inventing rules that have to be followed. Have you ever heard of The Floor is Lava?
Yes.
Yeah, no adult came up with that. No adult was like, here's what I need is all the children climbing on my furniture instead of running on the floor. Like, no grown-up thought of that. That is a game created by kids. The same is true of things like tag and all of its variations.
What was the game like Blob?
Oh yeah, we used to do Blob and Scouts. So it started out as tag with one person and then once they tagged somebody, the person they tagged, they had to hold hands, and it was 2 people running around in order to try to absorb everybody else that was playing. Things like that, those are all kid games, okay? And kids come up with rules for them. Kids like inventing rules. Margaret, I don't know if you have ever watched Bluey?
Yes.
Do you and your brother and sister watch Bluey?
You used to?
Marin loves Bluey, and every episode is about a new game that Bluey or Bingo has come up with. Mm-hmm. And they've just invented some rules, and then because the parents buy in so hard, everybody has so much fun. And they will follow the rules throughout the entire episode. The pilot episode of Bluey is called Magic Xylophone.
Yeah.
And the only rule is that whenever you hit the xylophone, Dad has to freeze. That's it. That's the rule. But from that rule, they get Dad into all of these weird positions. Dad manages to escape the xylophone, and Bluey freezes Bingo instead. And then all sorts of hijinks ensue there. Keepy Uppy with a balloon. Mm-hmm. Have y'all ever done that? Margaret, have you ever played Keepy Uppy with a balloon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's something I've been doing since I was a kid. Is just You blow up a balloon, you bounce it up and down, and you try to keep it off the ground, and that's it. But kids love that stuff. They love rules because they want to see how they can maneuver around the world with that rule in place. Margaret, what is snail, salt, carrot?
It's like rock, paper, scissors, except for it's snail, salt, carrot.
Can you describe, because we're doing audio, can you describe what your hand looks like for snail?
It's a rock.
Is it just a fist?
It's making a rock.
Okay, so that's the rock. What's salt?
It's your hand is just out flat.
Okay, like it's holding some salt. Okay.
Yes.
And then what's carrot?
It's your finger sticking out.
Just one finger sticking out?
Yes. Because we were playing rock, paper, scissors, and then I did scissors, but I accidentally only did one finger. And Mama said, "What's that?" I said, "It's supposed to be scissors." She said, "Oh, I thought it was a carrot."
Yeah, so even little things like that. We have an example of a kid who invented a new game just from something funny that happened. Let's see. So kids might not like sitting still for all the types of games that we often talk about on this podcast. We often talk about video games, board games, and card games. And not all kids like those types of games. Margaret, I can imagine that at one point in your life you were not into board games or card games. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you just wanted to run around?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you think Ezra's still in that?
Yes.
I've seen
Sometimes.
Ezra do the video gaming thing every once in a while.
Yes.
What's Ezra's favorite video game?
Lego Star Wars.
Hey, that's a good choice. I enjoy Lego Star Wars too. Margaret, what do you think changed? What got you into liking board games or card games more?
I don't know. It just got better,
Okay.
and I didn't like running around as much anymore.
She got old.
You got old like the rest of us, Margaret?
Yeah, her
Yes.
her back was hurting. Her knees were barking at her.
So it's time to hear from your parents a little bit. So what do y'all think changed for Margaret, where it was less about hide and seek and more games like we're used to? Now, Margaret, that's not to say you're not a hide and seeker anymore. I know that you and the family will still run around and play and stuff.
I think the biggest thing that changed was she learned to read and became an avid reader.
Yeah.
So she could understand the game pieces. She could understand the rules, and she could even look up the rules without having to ask us what they were. Sometimes if you're in the middle of a more complicated game and you ask about a rule, you give away something.
Sure, yeah.
That's feel bad for young kids who had this great idea, but they want it to be sneaky and secret. And Margaret's all about the sneaky and secret. So,
Yeah.
so I think once she learned to read and learned more complex concepts, she wanted to join us in the games that we were playing. And it started with very simple things like Boggle.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, although I'd go even before that, with just like matching games.
Oh, that's true.
Go Fish.
Yeah, real simple stuff. Yeah.
Candyland. Yeah, those things that help them learn turn-taking, basic game skills that we take for granted.
Sure.
But develop the patience that it takes for the longer games.
True. But even Boggle only takes 3 minutes, and we would play it by ourselves, and I think there was a desire to play with us.
Okay.
And so that's the sort of thing that makes her go, well, my parents aren't running around. They're sitting there writing. How can I participate with them? I will pull out a pen, and I will find all the words I can find, too.
That's awesome. Great suggestion for early reading and writing games. Playing Boggle. Margaret, was it hard to play against your dad at first?
Yeah. But I've gotten a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
Even Ezra
Cool.
can play. But sometimes he spells the words wrong.
That's okay.
He thinks, like, some of the words, like, sound, like, the sound makes, like, you know how an FH makes a F sound?
Do you mean a PH?
Yeah.
Yeah. How PH makes a F sound?
Yeah, so Ezra thought that, like, phone starts with a F.
That's an understandable error.
Yeah, but still, yeah, he's very good at finding the phonetical spellings of lots of words in Boggle, which to me is harder than just, oh, I know these letters work together so I can make something happen. So he's coming along well at Boggle as well.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think Sarah made a good point about how a lot of the more basic games for kids are teaching stuff. So I know Candyland especially gets a bad rap in the gaming community.
Sure.
Because, there's no decision making, there's no strategy. It's purely draw a card, move your piece, go on to the next player. But that's the ultimate catch-up mechanism. It's the ultimately fair game. They get to feel the exhilaration of winning the right amount of time.
The luck.
They do learn.
The luck factor.
And they experience winning and losing, and they experience turn-taking, rule following, all of those things that help scaffold for the bigger game. So it's worth playing those games with the little kids.
Especially because if they don't have any experience losing, they're not going to be able to handle putting in the effort for these complicated games and losing.
Yeah, so that was on our outline. Let's talk about some of the gaming culture that you guys have built into your family. What is it like to teach? I haven't done this yet. I have a 2-year-old. Today is Marin's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday!
Yeah. We did all our partying over the weekend and everything.
Yep.
But today it's official. So I haven't taught Marin how to win or lose yet.
Yeah.
None of that has come up for me. So give me a primer. What are some things that I can do to help Marin have good sportsmanship?
I'd say the first thing would be to play games around her and show her you enjoying them. You and Kristen it's part of life. Anything you want your kids to enjoy and to absorb as their own, you should be doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially they can see you winning and losing and handling winning and losing well. When you win, you don't sit there and go, "Oh, Kristen, you're so bad at this game. How dare you challenge me? Oh, who's your daddy?" Right? You're not sitting there doing that to Kristen, and so Marin will learn to not do that as well. And then, of course, when you lose, you don't sit there and go, "I'm never playing with you again."
Fine then.
Yeah, fine then. I'm just gonna burn this game. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Table flip.
Right. You're not sitting there flipping the table, doing all of those things. And so Marin will learn to both win and lose graciously because you'll model that and show that you had fun playing the game even if you didn't win.
Yeah.
Or even if you did win. I think that's something that Sarah has done very well, is model losing.
Got her.
Only at Boggle, but the fact that she still plays with me is modeling good behavior for the children. And the fact that I still play at any other game also, because Sarah always wins. That's the story of our family. Except Boggle.
Yeah.
But Ezra hasn't learned yet how to lose well, because sometimes we play a game and then he was just about to win and somebody else wins instead, and then he goes, "I don't want to play." He starts crying.
Yes, as soon as he sees himself starting to lose, he's like, let's do something else. I don't want to do this.
He's like, I'm stopping.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop and join Daddy's team.
Yeah, that's right. He likes to join the team of whoever he thinks is going to win.
That's funny.
Yes.
Hey, that was another thing on your outline. What are some things that people can do to bring their kids into their games? How can you help kids be involved, even if you're playing a more grown-up game?
So, yeah, teams, having the kids hold your cards for you. If there's a decision that's truly random, let them make this choice. Like, which card are we going to play first? Okay. Let them out, and Ezra will often pick the one that looks coolest. Which one has the most fire on it, or something like that. Or Margaret's cousins, they would often choose the prettiest card, or something like that. And like when playing Seven Wonders or something.
Okay, yeah.
And if you let them choose the first card or make a random choice for you, it helps them to feel involved and have some ownership over the outcome.
Sure.
And then they get to see the sort of game that you are playing. They get involved in the art. If you think back to our episode 5, teaching your game, getting them invested in the parts of the game that they like, the visuals, the action, the story of the game, makes them want to learn the rules later. And surprisingly, telling them, oh, you're not ready yet, maybe when you're older, makes them want to know that much more.
Yeah.
Because that's how kids work, right? They want to be older, they want to grow up, and if you tell them not till you're older, they want to learn more now.
Yeah. Kids are always wanting to, like, hold the pieces.
Yes.
Move the pieces around,
yeah.
Which is always such a shame because the pieces are so cool. A lot of the modern games I'm getting are fully sculpted miniatures and not just wooden squares anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of game manufacturers are moving past wooden squares or wooden blocks, like in Catan.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a castle figurine.
Right.
Or things like that. And kids want to play pretend. They want to grab the pieces and play pretend. Those are certainly pieces that can get them into the game as well.
Right.
Yeah, like playing pretend with the trains and Ticket to Ride on the side.
Yeah.
Showing them, oh, look, the colors map.
Yeah, one time I go to a gaming class every week.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
It's called Critical Thinking Through Gaming.
That's really cool.
And we played Ticket to Ride, and some guys, they weren't even playing the game. They were building castles with their trains and setting them up as cannons and then shooting each other with the trains. And they weren't even playing Ticket to Ride.
So it doesn't stop with toddlers.
No, it doesn't. All the way up.
They're like 8 and 9-year-olds.
All the way up to their 30s.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Ben and Sarah, what games have you found success with Margaret and your kids?
We have some family games that we play a lot. What are some examples of ones we played even just this week?
Taboo, and we're playing this category association game where we choose a letter and each try to come up with as many foods that start with that letter as possible.
Oh, cool. Benjamin, I feel like we used to do that when we went swimming.
Yes. It was a game called Categories.
And then what happened if you couldn't think of one?
So you would go down the line, each naming something in that category, and the first person who couldn't name one would try to swim across the pool, and the person who was it would be on the edge of the pool, and they would jump in and try to tag them before they made it across. That's what we did.
Yes, all of that sounds very familiar to me. Guys, does that sound like anything a grown-up would come up with?
No.
That's just kids saying, let's play in the pool.
A teacher, yeah.
A teacher, maybe.
To entertain children. Definitely.
Okay, maybe. Maybe you have a point there. What are some other games that have worked well for Margaret, and what do you think are the qualities of those games?
So, Taboo and Dixit, she likes a lot.
I love playing Dixit. That game's a lot of fun.
Yeah. She likes a game lately called Junior Detective. But I think, especially games like Taboo, we mentioned Boggle, Dixit, each of those give her an opportunity to... They can be as simple or as complicated as you want them to be. Mm-hmm. Right? Taboo can be about her experience. And in fact, when we're the clue giver trying to get a child to guess, it's harder on us than it is on them. Because we have to... we can't just give some complex clue like what's the name of the stormtrooper that Han Solo shot in episode 4. They don't have that experience.
Yeah,
you have to explain
they
things.
Won't have all of those, what do you call them, the schema,
right?
The background knowledge.
Yeah, and it helps them develop their word knowledge, their word association. And for Ezra, we don't even make him avoid the words.
Sure.
He just tries to get us to guess the things. And as they get older, we start saying, okay, now you can't say exactly those words. Now you can't say variation until we get them to the grown-up level. And Margaret's doing that very well now. She can usually get, 6 or 7 per round.
Wow, that's awesome,
yeah,
Margaret.
Really.
Great job.
Thank you.
So I see, she likes the word games and creative games and ones that take in some imagination, like Dixit. And so, honestly, it will depend on the kid.
Okay.
And... different personalities will like different games, even as children.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed kids still like games where they can play pretend in the game. So, the game of life, which I remember loving as a kid.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And as an adult, I actually hate it. And Margaret tells this story all the time. Or, sorry, Sarah tells this story all the time. She loved life as a kid as well. And she would always try to get her mom to play. And what did your mom say?
Honey, I'm playing life right now.
Granny said that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Grammy said that.
I got my kids. I'm working on
Right.
I got my job, my car, my student loans. I'm waiting for the next payday.
My mortgage.
I'm waiting to see if another kid appears. Right? Like, I'm hoping I can retire at Millionaire Estates instead of the poor farm. Right? Like,
This just became a little bit higher.
right. And so, I mean, it's fun in the sense of it's cool to think, what if I was a police officer or a teacher or a firefighter? But ultimately, it's like, well, no, I'm in the career I chose, and I'm halfway through the game of life. Right?
Yeah.
So that's an example of, kids love to do the things that kind of project the future. Other examples of them playing pretend would be a game that we bought actually at a convention.
Ooh.
There were some people who created a game and were at Comic Palooza, and they had Sarah and I come test their game. If you listen to our episode on conventions, we talked about game testing. We tested out a game called Beast.
Really fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just you are ancient monsters,
Ooh,
various
that's
dinosaurs, birds, snakes, and you're fighting each other. You start with 20 life. You find ways to deal damage to each other. You might fling rocks at each other. There are all sorts of dodos running around that can either help you or you might attack each other or things like that. You can eat food to heal. And what is it you like about Beast?
It's fun.
Yeah. Do you like the art?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like attacking Ezra?
Yes.
And we're sitting down for a game of Beast. Who do you like to attack first?
Probably Ezra.
Or is it Dad?
Or Mom?
Probably Mommy.
Yeah.
And that's definitely who I target first.
Yeah.
Because, one, I don't want to attack my kids. And two, she'll win if I don't.
Yeah, to tell you.
I'm the
That
scapegoat.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
I've always liked monster games, like King of Tokyo and stuff like that.
Margaret likes King of Tokyo, too. Tell us about that.
Remember how one time I almost won?
Yeah.
Like, I was so close to winning, but I only had one life.
Wow,
And then you
really
killed
close
me.
game.
Mommy killed me.
I was doing my
Mommy
best,
killed you.
showing her all the options. Got her in a good position. Then it was my turn, and I realized my best move was to take her out. And so I did.
No!
I understand.
And that's
Sometimes
why
you
she
just-
always wins, because she won't hesitate to attack her own daughter if it helps her position.
Sometimes you have to kill your darlings.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
That's right.
It was actually more that in order to teach your kids how to play well, you have to show them that it's okay to win also.
Show them the ruthless winning move.
Yeah, you have
Good
to.
strategy.
Yeah, show them good strategy. Show them that, a game will never end if everyone's going, well, I don't want to knock you out.
That's true.
Eventually, you got to go in for
Game's
the
gotta
kill.
end.
And Sarah goes for the kill first.
Game's gotta
I think
end.
it's
People
me
gotta
and
win.
you,
People gotta
Daddy.
lose.
Yeah.
And probably Ezra.
Yeah.
Because
What-
that's like the educational part of things. You want to teach your kids how to examine what's going on in all these facets, what's going on, and assess it and figure out the best move.
Yeah. Margaret, what is the worst game your parents have ever tried to teach you?
Suburbia.
Suburbia? Is it just too much? Is it too hard?
Yes.
Too many moving pieces?
Yes.
Benjamin said a couple episodes ago that's one of his favorites right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we showed her.
Right. And I feel like she can understand the rules. I think the strategy is still overwhelming.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
So I think if she just sat down and played with herself, she'd have fun. But the fact that everyone else is also playing.
Yeah, played a solo game.
You can
Just-
do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lots of games are
Do that
coming
with
out
any
with
game.
solo modes.
Yeah.
Does Suburbia have like a designated solo mode,
I think so.
or is it just like, here, just do the rules by yourself?
I think it's just do the rules by yourself, but I don't know. Agricola has a designated solo mode.
Yeah.
I know Agricola does, and a couple others.
Margaret, you like to play war by yourself. How do you
Yes.
do that?
You get 2 piles of equal cards,
Okay.
and then you'll flip the top cards. So you won't look at the top cards. You won't look at any cards. And you should probably shuffle them first.
Right.
And
Okay.
then you'll flip them, and whoever, say one is a king and one is a jack.
Uh-huh.
The king would get the jack. So the person who flipped over the king would take the jack and put it in a pile next to their cards.
And it gets added to their deck, right? That's the goal of the game, right? Is to win all the cards into your deck?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you play by yourself?
You just flip them yourself.
When you play by yourself, do you have a side that you're kind of rooting for, that you're hoping will win?
Like you want,
Yes.
You want your right hand to win or your left hand to win?
My right hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Margaret, what do you think of dexterity games? And here's what that means. A dexterity game is a game where you have to actually be really skilled with your hands in order to do really well at it. So here are some examples. Have you ever played Operation, where you have to use the tweezers to get the piece out without touching the sides? And I know that you have a game that we've played a couple times where it's that cylinder with a bunch of plastic sticks going through it, and then the marbles.
Yes.
And you have to pull the sticks without letting the marbles drop.
Yes.
Margaret, what do you think of games like that?
They're fun.
Where you actually have to be physically skilled.
Yeah.
In addition to using your mind.
Like pick up stick.
Yeah.
Or don't.
So you
chase.
like games like those?
Yes. I like those.
What do you like about them?
Very careful.
You like being careful?
Sometimes.
That makes sense.
So,
she crochets. She's very good with her hands.
I'm very
wow.
Yeah, she is very
She is
fast. Very dexterous hands. I think that kids have those little fingers, and a lot of times the youngest kids are learning those skills early. So these
Right.
can be great games to teach them, but also once they become like Margaret, where they've developed those skills very well, it's a great way to get your whole body into a game. It solves that, hey, I hate sitting down, I need to move.
Yeah. Games like Jenga is another dexterity game also.
We don't have Jenga. We have Tumbling Tower.
Ah, understandable. I'll have to make sure for the video version to not find Jenga and make sure to find tumbling tower blocks.
Right. Tumbling Tower is Jenga at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Margaret, I wanted to make sure to add this for you. What about building toys, like Lego or your magnetic shapes?
They're lots of fun.
What do you love about them?
You can make stuff.
And then play pretend with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about some stuff you've made.
Like with Legos, I made a houseboat.
A houseboat. Wow.
I
How
made
big
a
is it?
house, and then I made a boat, and I put the house on top of it.
That's awesome. I remember doing stuff like that. I would make a house and then just put wheels on the bottom.
Yep.
Yes.
I'd be like, it's my all-terrain house.
Yeah. Yeah. Margaret loves Legos. And I think Legos do the combination of things that we've kind of talked about, where they are naturally restrictive because they come in certain shapes and certain sizes and certain colors, but they also allow for a ton of creativity, playing pretend, expanding your horizons. So they're both rule-driven and restrictive, and also freedom in the same little package.
If you have the right pieces, you can make anything.
Yeah. Have you ever used Lego to play a game?
No, but in a Lego book, I saw it, where they made a chessboard out of Lego.
Whoa, that's really cool.
Like, they use those, like, flat on one side and then, like, bumpy on the other side pieces.
Studded.
And they put them on the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it made the top of the chessboard. And they made little chess pieces.
Cool.
That's really neat. I remember when I was in elementary school, I would invite friends over for sleepovers, and we would each build a spaceship, or we would each build like a tank, and then we would have little battles with them.
Yeah.
And it was all just playing pretend, but I'd say, oh, my missile hit you on that corner. And they'd have to remove 5 blocks or whatever. And we would play pretend in that way.
So you'd make up rules for your Lego battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get some Legos, and I get Mama's phone, and then I make videos with the Legos.
Hey, that's awesome. That's a very creative way to use Lego.
Ezra helps, too. And they're
That's
usually very funny.
Yeah. They do all the voice acting, the puppetry,
The narration.
the scene setup, choreography.
Oh my God. Benjamin, do you remember when we made that Godzilla video at
Yes.
MLK's?
Yes. We had a toy dinosaur, and we had a map of the United States.
It was a State Farm almanac.
Yes.
So you would open it, and it would have little landmarks on all the states of the United States.
Yeah.
So we did Godzilla does a tour of the United States, and he goes to all these landmarks.
And so we would design the landmarks out of 8 tracks.
Yeah, out of 8 tracks or old VHS tapes or Easter baskets.
Right? And then we would film Godzilla destroying those things. I think I had a pair of shoes, so he said, "Oh, Elvis's blue suede shoes." Arr, arr, arr. And then the dinosaur would eat the shoes.
Yeah, I think we had him ride a roller coaster at one point.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really yes. Do you have that video?
No, I Dad might, but I don't have it.
Dang, the roller coaster. Now that you mention it, that roller coaster scene, that should win an Oscar.
Top notch filmmaking. Let's wrap things up with this last major point. You wrote that playing games has been part of your relationship and part of your family. Tell us about that.
Well, let's see. When we first met, Ben and I, we got to know each other at various events, including some board game playing. I remember at least a Monopoly and a Risk game that were very interesting.
And Junta. And Catan.
Benjamin had us play Junta at my bachelor party.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's exciting.
Sarah hates Junta.
I don't like Junta.
She doesn't like to stab people in the back.
I didn't like Junta either.
Oh.
I didn't do very well.
Yeah.
We're not
I'm too honest for Junta.
Yeah.
But didn't last episode, didn't you say you wanted to try diplomacy?
I would be open to trying it, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, Sarah was saying that, and Sarah always won.
I won a surprising number. Yes.
Yes. And we played a lot of card games.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah's family is really big into 2 card games in particular.
Benjamin's already told us the sacrilege that your family has done with Uno.
Margaret loves
Uno.
it. Do you like the slapping in Uno?
Yes.
So she's corrupting the youth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unacceptable. Uno is supposed to be a slow, mindless game.
Oh my
no,
goodness.
it's not.
That
I
way
don't
you
like
can
slow,
keep telling
mindless
stories
games.
and
Me
catching
neither.
up with your friends while you play.
But what are the card games that your family plays with regular decks of cards? Nerds?
Oh,
Yeah.
war really fast.
Yeah, because the younger generation plays really fast war, yeah.
Yeah, I
Interesting,
like
okay.
me.
Are you talking about ERS?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. ERS.
Which stands for Egyptian rat screw, but they always leave the screw out. They just call it Egyptian rat. And for whatever reason. And so
because this is a saintly family, Benjamin.
That's right. And then Crazy Canasta. Because we actually played a lot of that when we were getting to know each other.
Yeah.
What makes Canasta crazy?
I actually only know Crazy Canasta, so I don't know what it's different. But you do use 2 decks of cards per person. Is that
Per
crazy?
person.
Per person.
So if you're playing...
Per person.
Yeah, the stack is super big. So like
Oh my god.
if it's me and Sarah and her parents, we're playing with 8 decks of cards.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards.
Yes,
That
it
is a lot of cards.
Yes, so you end up with this wonderfully dense hand.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's the one where if you want something in the pile, you have to take the whole pile, right?
I believe so.
Oh,
It's
I
been
guess that's
so many
also
years.
hand and foot.
That's
the
hand and
same way.
foot.
And so you would often end up with hands of 30 cards or more, everybody at the table. Because in order to lay down, you need at least 7 cards of a set.
And you need at least 4 types of sets.
You can't win unless you've done a set of 7s, a set of wilds, a clean set, and a dirty set?
Yeah.
Okay. And so oftentimes, like, you're missing one of the sets, and in the meantime, you're playing a bunch of the other kinds of sets, which are amassing you points, but you cannot go out until you have that last set.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
That's so fun. We need to play it. We need to teach them.
That's true. We should
have
teach
not
them.
taught them yet.
Yeah.
I don't
Now-
know.
One of those game skills that I wouldn't have really thought of until I had kids is holding cards. It
Yes.
takes a while for them to figure out how to actually hold a hand of cards. Now that they're older, we can teach them the game that holds the most cards.
That's right.
Crazy Canasta.
When I was little, I would just use a tissue box.
That's a good way to hold cards. When I was little, we made a card holder out of butter dishes. Out of
Yep.
butter dish lids. and we would like tie the butter dish lids together like a button, and then you could slip all your cards inside it.
You still have those card holder trays that I got you when you broke your hand?
Yes, I do. I do still have those card holder trays.
Perfect for Marin.
Yeah. They're
Yes.
perfect for kids. So when you're ready to teach Marin magic.
Teach Marin how to play Marvel Legendary.
Oh, yeah. There you go. So we started playing lots of games early on because we've already talked a lot on this show about how you and I were in a gaming family.
Sure.
And our games were mostly board games. But Sarah grew up in a gaming family, and other than, Catan, I guess y'all mostly played card games.
Yeah, because by the time I was interested in board games, my family was over all the other board games.
Yeah.
They were over it.
They were just over it.
Yeah.
But apparently all the speed games, Speed, ERS,
Yeah.
Egyptian Rat, Nerds, which I don't know if have you heard of Nerds?
No, I've never heard of Nerds
It's
either.
another speed game.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
a very fast game.
Yeah.
You hardly know where everyone's hand is.
In college, we played Spoons.
Yeah. Spoons is very, very simple compared to so Nerds, everyone gets their own deck of cards
Okay.
with a different back so that you can separate the cards when you need to. And you play
Okay.
a simplified version of Solitaire where you get 4 stacks to play Solitaire with. And then all of your aces go in the middle and anyone can play on them.
A joint, huge
Ah.
mosh pit of aces.
Yeah, so you play your ace of hearts. Someone across the table might play the 2 of hearts on that. And then your neighbor might play the 3 of hearts, etc. And so your goal is you have a stack of face-down cards that you're trying to get rid of. And the first person to get rid of those, says Nerds, the game is over. And you score based on how many cards you manage to get into the middle. So all of the rest of your game
Okay,
doesn't matter.
interesting.
The number of cards you got in the middle is your points, and you subtract the number of face-down cards that you did not play. Everything else, moving kings and stacks around and playing a good game of Solitaire, doesn't matter for point scoring. Getting rid of your stack, putting cards in the middle, that's all that matters. But there might be a time where no one's played an ace of spades for a while, so people have 2s, 3s, 4s of spades just sitting out ready to be played. And as soon as someone turns up an ace of spades and put it in the middle, it's a mad dash to see who can be the first person to play the 2. And if you miss it, you might go, oh, well, that's fine. I have a 3. But then someone else plays their 3, and then someone else plays their 4.
has already played their 3, and it's just...
Yeah, and by the time you're able to
Chaos.
get your mind situated, that ace has become a 5. And you're like, well, dang it. And you got to wait for the next ace to play your 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so it's crazy. We play it at Thanksgiving often with their family in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
With 10 people around a table.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you said each person has their own deck, right?
Right.
Which means there's 40 aces in the table eventually?
Yeah, eventually.
Wow.
So it's...
Or up to 40?
Yeah.
And so
That's crazy.
you're trying to keep an eye out on what's going on, but you're also trying to get through your own cards so that you can get to the cards you need. But you also have to be... If someone on the other end of the table plays an ace of spades, you need to be aware of that so that you know to throw your 2 of spades over there. And,
Mhm.
there will be people diving on the table to make sure they're the first people to... Yeah.
Have Margaret as your helper. Margaret, run my 2 over there.
Margaret, hold this 2 and wait at the other end of the table for a chance.
That's right.
No, we don't do that.
Okay, so we started off playing lots of games when we first met and lived together. We moved into a co-op. Sarah's rolling her eyes because she hates when I said we moved in together and that's how we met. So we moved into the same co-op in college. And so the co-op was full of people who played games. In fact, shameless plug here, one of the friends that also lived at that co-op just released a game called Farms Race. So if any of you are listening...
Oh yeah, you sent
Yeah,
us
very
the Kickstarter
Yep,
for that.
and I backed the deluxe edition. Unfortunately, this show will come out too late for anybody to get on the Kickstarter, but the goal for them is to be in big box stores and such, so be on the lookout for Farms Race. It's a fun game. I've play tested it, and so has Sarah. We have play tested it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we played lots of games then, and then our relationship.
Well, we got married.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And moved to San Angelo. And then would continue to play games and meet people, play games with them. Ben would go to play Magic. I even played
Two-headed giant.
Giant. Yes.
Oh, cool.
And then I was born.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Margaret, when you were born, Kristen and I came over and we played Pandemic for 3 days straight.
With us, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, you were a little baby.
That was an awesome weekend.
You
were a wee bean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bean.
Yeah, but before
I'm
she
a
was born,
bean.
we would play Skip-Bo? We played
Phase
Phase 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because San Angelo was small enough where I had an hour for lunch. I would go home for lunch every day.
It was amazing.
And Sarah would have a little food waiting for me. or whatever. And then or not. I'd make a sandwich or a bowl of chili or something. And then we would play a game. We'd play several rounds of whatever. And then I'd go back to work and finish the day.
Or we'd have cash flow marathons some weekends.
A game called Cash Flow.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what kind of cash flow are we talking?
Yeah, no, there's a game called Cash Flow. It's not Monopoly. I don't know what game to compare it to, but basically the strategy for winning in that game is the same strategy for getting rich in real life. So it's meant to train your mental habits into how to make money.
Interesting.
Long-term money.
Okay.
It's for nerds.
Yeah.
Too bad Derek's not on this episode.
You know what? We should let him borrow it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we got it right over there.
Yeah, we should play it.
Yeah, you just made Sarah so happy because she loves that game. To me, it always plays out roughly the same way. Once you know the strategy, it's just who can get lucky enough to roll the dice and do that strategy first.
Sure.
But
okay.
That strategy we won't specify yet.
Right, we're gonna win a few
We
games
are
while you
going-
learn.
We aren't going to reveal it to
Is
the world.
the winning strategy exploiting your workers?
No,
No, not at all.
In fact,
You are your worker.
yeah, it's all about doing your own thing. Now, it is about being a landlord, things like that, which Derek won't like.
I don't know if Derek wants to roleplay being a landlord.
But
Well-
you can be a good one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but then you won't get rich. Anyway.
Yeah.
We can have
So-
a whole episode.
Yeah, so we played games constantly. Pretty much our entire early marriage was just games every afternoon and every night. And then Margaret came along.
And we made good friends with another couple who had just had a baby. And we have pictures of us all deliberating over a game board of some kind. And on the sides, you can see 2 bouncer seats with the 2 little babies.
Yep.
And it was awesome.
Yep. And we would
That's cute.
Yeah.
and we would host people like you just mentioned. Y'all came over and played Pandemic. We would have other
Mhm.
people come over and play various games. Just gaming nonstop. And so Margaret grew up seeing her parents play games all the time. And then we would start getting games for her. And that's why we have Candyland and what's the Dream Cakes. You got that for her, I think.
Really?
Or Kristen did.
I guess it was Kristen.
It's probably Kristen got it.
I don't know.
There's a game, and it's actually a well-designed game called Dream Cakes.
Ravensburger.
Is it
Yeah.
Ravensburger?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Ravensburger is a good gaming company.
Cool.
They made Dream Cakes, which is just a simple spin. There's a spinner, and depending on what it lands on, that's a part of a cake you get, and you build a cake, and the bigger your cake is, the more points you make, and if you want to declare a cake done, you can bank those points.
Okay.
And you hope you don't get a big spill and lose all your progress.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a one of those push your luck.
Yep. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's finish off this episode with some words of wisdom. Benjamin, tell us the secret to having kids who are fun to play games with.
Well, there's the simple answer, which is having smart kids. No, the best way to have kids who are fun to play with is to have kids who are well adjusted. So you show them love, you show them how to be mature about losing, you model good behavior, and you let them experience things. You let them do more than you expect. So Margaret consistently plays games that say that they're for 10 plus or 12 plus. Yeah, she's 9 now. Suburbia is not a game that says it's for kids that are 9 years old, but she can grasp those rules.
Yeah.
And by letting her, we go above and beyond to make sure that our kids have a fair chance, right? We practice the things from our Teaching Your Game episode,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a matter of making it a fun experience where we all get together and we do make them do things that are a bit hard for them. Like Ezra has to be on his own team sometimes.
Yeah.
But when they win, they are euphoric. They love that they have done something that feels hard to them. And they grow through that experience.
Yeah.
Even when they lose, they grow. And so really focusing on that character building aspect of not just gaming, but in all areas of their life helps make them better game players and more fun to play with.
Yeah, complementing their effort,
Yep.
helping them to keep their interest, and encouraging improvement, a growth mindset. If you can instill those in your kids, then you can have good gaming kids.
Another trick is being homeschooled.
Yeah, that's true. They can learn through games. She mentioned that learning through gaming class.
That's right.
So, this is something we could probably do a whole episode about, but there is a game for everything.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
People learn better when they have fun. And that's not new psychology. That's not new age. Plato wrote about it in the Republic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So why not, right? If you have the luxury of homeschooling your children, and I know not everyone does. Some people need the 2 incomes. Some people have 9-to-5 jobs instead of running Eldorado Gaming like Sarah. Some people have that situation where it's just not possible. But if you have that luxury to homeschool your kids, it can be a fun experience for the whole family to create games that teach. Word games, number games, color games, strategic critical thinking games, and there's games at every level from 3 years old all the way up to 90. You just got to, find the right tools for making that happen. And that does give them a lot of exposure to gaming and a lot of exposure to real world concepts that you may not learn sitting through lectures and stuff at school. So I'm glad you brought that up, Margaret. It does help us to have a better gaming family.
Sarah, Margaret, welcome to your debut on My Mythical Meta.
Yay!
Listeners, thank you so much for listening and for staying with us for another episode. Remember that you can contact us directly through email at mymithycalmeta@eldoradogaming.com. I want to thank Benjamin, as always, for being my great co-host, and I want to thank you guys for being a wonderful family. Good night!
Good night!
This episode was sponsored by Eldorado Gaming. Use the promo code META for 10% off your order. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. This episode was edited by me, Travis Konishek, and our intro and outro music is by Tyler Heath of the Oh Hellos.